Hello, I'm Derek Black. I'm the head of customer success at revVana, and today I want to go through how you set up revVana to work to generate forecasts off of any object in Salesforce. So by default, with revVana, something that we've gone through in some other videos, revVana is set up to generate forecasts off the opportunity and opportunity product objects. So no problem. That's typically a set of objects that are very key to forecasting in Salesforce. So that's why we default to using those records. But you may have a lot of other stuff going on inside of Salesforce. And revVana allows you to build forecasts off of any object or any set of master detail objects in Salesforce. And I'm going to show you how we configured this setup here to work off quotes and quote lines from the new Revenue Cloud product in Salesforce. So here I have a quote with quote lines, and I have start and end dates and everything here, and I have a plan that is generated off of those source records. And I take the source records and I generate some hours for this 8-week services project. That gives me a full revenue amount, a lot of stuff going on here. So this is a fully, built out implementation of revVana here to do forecasts with plans off of quotes and quote lines. How do you point revVana to a different object other than opportunities? What I'm going to get into now. So in the configurator, we'll go here, and I'll have a new scenario that I have made for quote and quote line forecasts. And if I go into the scenario settings here, it will show me, more levels of detail. There's a lot more stuff you can configure and customize for your scenarios found here in this layer of setup for revVana. And here I've chose the plan S object and plan line item S object to be quote and quote line item. And I have the plan line item relationship field filled in here. You'll need to identify the source record that you want in the API name. If it's a master detail, you'll need these two items as well. So in this case, I have a quote with quote lines, and that's the components of my plan, where the plan is based off of the total quote and the plan line items are the quote lines here. So as you set this up, you need to do a little extra work to make sure that your updates in revVana are triggered by actions and activity on these records. The way that we do that is you'll want to create triggers for whatever extra objects that you want revVana to run off of. Out of the box, we ship triggers for the opportunity and opportunity product records. And here you will want to create new triggers that are basically just like a copy and paste of the opportunity and opportunity line item trigger. So here's the out of the box trigger that we ship to have actions happen on opportunity. And it's managed so you can't see the code, but we want to create a same version of that, the revVana quote trigger. And here's the code that you'll want to use. And this is applicable and extensible to any object in Salesforce. So for a parent object, you'll put in the name of the trigger here, and you'll put in the API name here, and the rest of this code stays exactly the same. I'm going to put a snippet of this into the description of this video so you can reuse it. And you will do the same thing for detail records if they're needed. So here's the line item trigger. And you can see that it's exactly the same, except for the name goes here, and then the object goes here. With these, the criteria in the revVana configurator will be evaluated when anything changes on those records. To give you some finer grained control on when these triggers may fire, we have something else in the custom metadata that requires a little configuration. And if you are creating new triggers like I just did, you'll need to create these records as well. So in custom metadata types, we have what we call the trigger control. And this is how you can make sure that stuff isn't just running all the time real crazy in your org. You can kind of pick criteria at a higher level of when you want this stuff to run. So here are the trigger controls that I created for the quote and the quote line. And here I can choose when I want the generic trigger that's in the Apex trigger or the class that I put in that Apex trigger, and when it's going to run. So you can choose these settings here. So you don't have to dive into the code and update, whatever pieces of that class are there. We have a generic one that's part of the package, and you can choose these settings to decide when it's going to run. After update, after insert are good ones. That means when a quote record is updated or created, that this trigger will run to see if revVana needs to go and do anything. And sort of the same story here for the line item. So this is every single thing you need to do, aside from, of course, making your scenario, to point a scenario to any objects in Salesforce that you want to forecast off of.